Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Experiencing GhiaLogic. Hello, my beautiful, my wonderful, and my loyal listeners. Welcome to another episode of Experiencing GhiaLogic. I'm your lovely host, GhiaLogic, and today is episode 262. I would love to talk about people who can't or won't let you forget your past mistakes or failures. Have you ever felt like your past is holding you hostage? People can be stuck in their own narratives and project them on us. I used to be green or naive, as some would say. I think that I just now started having boundaries regarding things that I will put up with or won't put up with. But definitely something in my life, I think that people hold on regarding me. Oh yeah, G is nice. Doesn't matter. We could talk to her any type of way. Doesn't matter. She'll be fine with it, right? You cannot use my past actions against me still in the current time and in the present. I wanted to make this podcast right now as well because of cancel culture, and we have Jay-Z that has been accused of sexual assault with Diddy. All these things, right, that people are digging way far back, and I think they're trying to mess up what these people have going right now. I think this is just the perfect time to talk about people holding our past against us and not letting our past go. So today we will be diving into why some people won't let you move on from your past and why grace and forgiveness are essential for everyone. Why do people, especially in close relationships, have such a hard time letting go of another person's past mistakes? So I've done research on this, and it says betrayal of trust is a reason, fear of repetition, unresolved emotions, and perceived lack of accountability. They think that you have not recognized that you have fallen short in the past. So since you're not holding yourself accountable, of course you'll do it again. Of course I'm going to hold this against you. Could this be a reflection of the other person's unresolved issues? Maybe their own insecurities? Absolutely. Fear of vulnerability, difficulty with forgiveness, reinforcement of a negative story, and fear of losing power are all reasons that this could be a reflection of the other person's unresolved issues, and those might be their unresolved issues. I think that it's important for us to encourage self-awareness and mindful communication. I literally have that in all caps as I look at my flashcard, but you have to encourage self-awareness even as a person that's passing judgment, and you have to have mindful communication because people can grow. This might help that person uncover the root of their reactions and why they're reacting this way, why they're reacting. Oh, maybe they have a fear of vulnerability. Maybe they have difficulty with forgiveness. Maybe they have reinforcement of a negative story or a fear of losing power. So today, as you can see that I'm in this lovely office space, right? I'm in this beautiful background. Where could I possibly be? Today, I'm in the office of Miss Shahine, who is a therapist of 30 plus years. She specializes in marriage, family, and anxiety, PTSD. I see she has some letters behind her name. I see LPC and LMFT. So we're going to get into that. But I want to welcome Miss Shahine and just join the show. Just join the conversation. Come on. Welcome to the Experiencing GhiaLogic podcast.
Okay.
Sit down.
All right.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. How about you?
Doing well. All right. So I have a few questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's common in therapy for clients to struggle with others constantly reminding them of their past?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And oftentimes when I work with a lot of people from different age group, different background, and it's they feel stuck because the family around them are stuck. It's really is a family issue oftentimes because our nervous system is basically our primary default in a sense that if I have a negative experience in a particular situation, and that is the memory that is I kept in my muscles, in my tissues, is going to be my default. So when someone triggers me for the way they talk to me, the way they treat me,
Yeah.
so I'm going to basically react to that situation instead of
Based off of that.
responding. Yes.
So in your experience, do you see clients get stuck in the past due to others' judgments?
Actually, we see that all the time. I'll give you an example. Is I don't know if you heard of is Marshall Rosenberg. He wrote a book on nonviolent behavior. Communication, nonviolent communication, and he's talking about he went to Middle East to talk about teaching people how to interact with each other without
Being violent.
Yeah, being violent. And so he started talking. Somebody the minute in the audience recognized he's from America, he started shouting, "You're a killer! You're a killer! American killer!" and so forth. And so what happens? Instead of him reacting to the situation, he began to see the pain in the person. As soon as he recognized the pain in this person, was able to communicate, and ended up invited to his house in the evening. So he wasn't an American killer anymore.
Wasn't a threat.
Yeah, it wasn't a threat, yes.
And again, that's another example of, even though those are like, I guess, little racial undertones under there,
Yes.
or within there, I should say.
Yes.
But again, not holding that person's past against them, knowing that in the past, this is how they view a certain background, ethnicity, or things like that. Hey, I'm not going to hold that against you. I'm going to come to you with my truth and who I am, and we're going to move forward.
The reason he didn't get stuck
Mm-hmm.
with this image of American or this and so, because he attended to his presence. So it's being able to
Good.
be validating.
This is good.
Yeah, validating the person's
This
needs
is
at
good.
that moment. He was able to calm down and realize he can learn from this person.
Excellent. Now, Ms. Shahine, I asked you, in your experience, do you see clients get stuck in their past due to others' judgments? Now, how do you think that affects your clients' healings? All those other people's past judgments on them, and them kind of getting stuck in how people see them and from their actions in the past.
Yeah.
How does that affect your client's healing?
Yeah. I can, talk and say all kind of positive things, but it's still I'm holding on to a lot of negative emotions in my body. I'm not connecting to them. So therefore what happens, they haunt me. And I'm not able to draw a line. I'm not able to set boundary for people who might be treating me based on their own trauma. Remembering that oftentimes if I'm raised in a family that the mom or the father are going through their own journey of dealing with their own trauma, unprocessed trauma, our kids are going to go through kind of similar things.
As a therapist, what do you think is the psychological basis behind someone's constant reminders of another person's past mistakes?
When you talk about psychological, is to me it's not just remember our front lobe is our executive functioning. The back of our brain is where we hold on to all the memory of the things that happens. Let's assume I have gone through trauma as a child, and so I have my children, and there are things they do perhaps, and I start responding to them as though I was responded to. And so what happens, I keep creating. So as a parent, if I haven't dealt with my issues, I'm going to recreate. Let's say I had issues with my father, and I might choose a husband that might kind of resembles my father. And so what happens, I create the same miniature of the family that I grew up with.
Now, what about if your child messed up let's say in their teenager years.
Yes.
And let's say it's like 10, 15 years later down the line. Are you going to look at your child as who they are today? Or are you going to still hold like those past mistakes against them? And what do you think that most people do? Do you think that they see them for who they are in the present day? Or do you think that people can look at their children or their loved ones as whom they were in the past?
Personally, I would see my children as they are now. And they had to go through their own healing process. And I have to also simultaneously begin to, because it's traumatizing to the parents when their kids are going through a process of, let's say, addiction. Addiction is oftentimes a response to trauma. If the kids has been, let's say, abused sexually, and so as a teenager, they will have a lot of sexual behavior acting out. And so what happens creates a lot of pain for them. And as a parents, if first are going to thinking, or is your fault, why are you doing this, versus really looking at the beneath the pain of why the individual's falling into a behavior to numb themselves.
What are some strategies you might suggest for someone dealing with a loved one who can't let go of their past?
Okay. Well, I oftentimes teach them how to empower themselves. But empowering themselves is and looking at their own sense of self and learning to look within versus looking outside, and being able to learn skills. A very simple skills would be a breathing relaxation that really brings them to their body and help them to stay and use their nervous system to help them, to support them. So for them to be their own advocate. Let's say their family members come and say, you did this and did that. So, yeah, I hear that, Uncle, you're still hurting with what happened a few years ago. You're still hurting from that. Tell me about what is happening. But I have to teach that to my client, how to learn to be able to respond without getting impacted by them. If they have skills and have confidence about who they are as a person, and teaching them techniques how to talk to the family members by validating and not being the victim of the conversation. And so I teach them how to validate their own feelings, their own experiences, and be able to talk about, and be able to also validate the person who is talking to them as by putting them down and saying, I see, Uncle, you still have a hard time letting go of the past. What would help you to let go of that and have a conversation? But it's the person can do that after they begin to really discover their own strength, their own sense of empowerment, that they are the one who's the creator of their future, and how at this moment also in this, and how they can create a life the way they wanted it.
That's excellent. So it sounds like you're saying once you do the self-work, once you do the self-care and you do the healing, it'll be easier for you to manage with that person passing judgment on you from your past mistakes. We remember good and we remember bad. I have it written here, it's a negativity bias. We remember bad things more easily than the good. It seems like lately with people in the world, it's easier for them to say more negative things about a celebrity than positive. So that kind of goes hand in hand with what we're speaking about today. When someone keeps reminding you of your past, it might not be about you at all. It could be their own unresolved trauma projecting onto you. What is the long-term impact of keeping someone stuck in their past?
That we can see in their social life, personal life, relationship, and work. Oftentimes they want to numb their emotions, their feelings, through addiction, any form, drugs, alcohol, and in cases also sex can be an addictive behavior. And so they get into the destructive behavior that impacts them in a negative way, and that's the long term. There's a strong connection between the emotional trauma and those feeling stuck in the past causes a lot of physical illnesses.
Now, why is forgiveness so important for both the person forgiving and the one being forgiven?
I can forgive someone when I realize the intensity of the impact of that relationship has on me. And I see the damage is so high, I need to do something about it.
Yeah.
If they are ready, I don't usually do the forgiveness very early on in my work with people.
I don't do it in my life.
Yeah, if it's necessary, it's in certain situations, person has to be ready to forgive. First, they need to really forgive themselves by hurting themselves physically, by emotionally not processing their pain or their emotions, and end up, let's say, drinking themselves to death. So I focus on learning the skills to take care of themselves, and that would be part of the forgiveness for themselves. Because if I'm valuing myself and my physics, my emotions, then it's a form of forgiving myself, because I say, well, this is important to me. This is the only body that I have. It's going to carry me throughout life. I need to take care of it. I need to stop putting junk into my body. I need to rest well. I need to say no at times to people who wanted to, do things that is out of my principle. Begin to learn about what are my personal values. And begin to really develop that to the extent that becomes the core of my action in everything that I do.
And why is forgiveness so important for the one that's being forgiven? For their wrong actions, for them holding me to my past.
It's because then I don't give my power to them anymore. Because when we are not forgiving them for their shortcomings, I'm basically passing on my power. I said, okay, you still have control over me. Do you want to let another person outside of the control you because the way they think about you?
No.
So, okay, exactly. So you want to define yourself, not letting others defining you. People can continue defining you based on how they feel about themselves. Otherwise, if I feel good about me, would I put you down? Of course not. Because I see you are a valuable individual. If I see myself as a valuable entity in this community, then I'm going to value you.
Only God can judge us. We all have skeletons in our closet that other people could judge us for if they knew about it. So.
Yeah, I mean, one thing too, if I feel uncomfortable about the way people judge me or the way that people see me, I will ask myself, and I always teach that to people I'm working with, say, ask yourself, what does that mean to me? The way this person is treating me, what does that mean?
Doesn't really
what about
matter.
that? What about that bothers you? And a question and ask. Have awareness. In other words, the key for me to grow is awareness and connection. Those are two very valuable, I think, things that I keep teaching people. Be aware of your emotions. Be aware of your thoughts. And if I put negative thoughts in my mind, I'm going to produce negative feelings. And
I think that sometimes, though, in life, you just want someone to look at you for what you are. And sometimes, even though as strong as we can present to the world. Some days, we're just not our strongest at all times, but sometimes you want that person to see what you've accomplished and who you are today. So it hurts. It hurts when you don't have that validation, or that person standing behind the person that you are today, because they're still looking at you as a person that was the alcoholic 15 years ago, the abuser 10 years ago. So I think it just hurts. It hurts sometimes when people just see you for what you've done and not who you are today. But I think that you really hit it on the nail today by letting us know that if you have that wherewithal of, hey, I practice gratitude, I am where I am in life, I've made it this far, I can only focus on the positives, I can only focus on what I can control, then I guess that's really the icing on the cake. That's the icing on the cake. That's all that you can do, because people are going to consistently look at you and judge you off of things that don't matter anymore, off of things that are unfair. Life, I think you can do everything right in life and still come up short.
And I think, I would less focus on the judgment of others. Even though if they're doing good, I will focus on how am I judging myself. Because the value judgment we have upon ourselves is much, unfortunately, stronger and deeper than even other people's have judgment over us. And if I make that value judgment change about me and constantly have this critical self-talk and seeing what is this doing for me?
Yeah.
Is it helping me to go forward, or is it keeping me stuck?
Yeah.
And having a conversation and awareness of that, then you make a choice. You make a decisions that, okay, my intention is to do well in my life. Right now, what is important to me right now? And this moment, next minute, is going to be the past. So however I am, I'm creating more good past. The more good past I make, the more I basically keep shifting
shifting that narrative. You're changing the past by creating a better and more positive present.
Yeah, you got it.
Now, Miss Shahine, and let me practice with your last name, because I always call you Miss Shahine or Dr. Shahine. Your last name is it Tavakoli?
Tavakoli, yes.
Tavakoli. All right.
Yes, you're doing a good job.
How can prospective clients reach you and book your services?
Okay. They can either go to my website, or they can go even to Center for Mind Body Medicine.org, cmbm.org.
Okay.
They can see a profile of me. They can go to Psychology Today. They can have my bio there. And they can call at 713-686-3121 and chat and set a consultation.
And what was your website? Could you spell that out for us?
It's www.shahinetavakoli.com.
Perfect. Okay. And what's your hourly price, and what insurances do you take? Because, everybody that watches my podcast, we might be under 40. Well, I don't know if we have insurance. We might be getting kicked off our parents' insurance.
Yes.
So
my fee is $190 for individual. For couples is $250.
Okay, that's for an hour?
For an hour.
Okay.
A couple, since it takes a little bit more than 1 hour, that's why it's $250. And also work for ISH as well.
Institute of Spirituality and Health.
Yeah, I've been collaborating with them last 7-8 years.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah. And so
that's awesome. You're busy. You're booked and busy. So y'all need to tap in, call her, visit her website if you want to book your therapy session. This my therapist like this. Let's see what we're doing here. Okay. Where are we? Where are you located?
Yeah, it's 5959 West Loop South.
Okay.
Suite 600, Bel Air, Texas.
We're in Bel Air, Texas.
401.
We're in the heart of the city.
Yeah, I'm near Galleria.
Okay. Yeah. Do you offer virtual visits?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So you guys have no excuse. is there anything you would like to share, Ms. Shahine, in closing of this episode?
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you, first of all, and it was quite an honor to have this conversation with you. And I think I really appreciate you creating an environment that kind of comfortable for me to just chit chat with you. It's and be able to just share some of my experiences or my thoughts. And I tend to feel kind of when people come to my office is I see them as an individual, not a client. I see their suffering as I have seen my own suffering, and so I'm very respectful of my clients, and I truly care for them. And that's why people tell me, Shahine, you see sometimes 8 hours clients, and you look not tired. As I said, well, because I really love what I do, and I learn a lot from my clients. And it's almost like a conversation. Yeah.
No, definitely. Because sometimes you can have a mean therapist where you're feeling like they're judging you or things like that. But no, I'm glad I could sit down with you, have this conversation about kind of like mental health, just pushing through and having your own narrative of who you are. That's what matters most.
Yeah.
Your past is your past. We're living today. In the future, with cancel culture, with everything going on, you can just do the best you can with today, unless it's just something completely egregious.
And also the fact that you're watching this and listening to this indicates how much you care about yourself.
Absolutely.
Right there, you saying that my self-care is important to me. I want to learn about myself.
Absolutely.
I want to grow, and we change every day.
Yeah.
I mean, our cells dies and the new cells comes. We can do the same with our past.
Yeah. People are going to judge us until we die. So this is something like I feel like I've even had to continuously work on in life. People are going to hate you. They're not going to like you. It is what it is. Oh, and I wanted to ask you as well before we close about LPC and LMFT. Tell us what that stands for.
Yeah. LPC is a licensed professional counselor.
Okay.
And LMFT is licensed marriage and family therapist. And CMBM is also stand for certified mind-body medicine practitioner.
It's a lot of letters. I like it. Please make sure you guys are following and subscribing to Experiencing GhiaLogic podcast on all your digital streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, rate, review, YouTube, everything like that. Please share this video, share this audio with someone that can definitely benefit from this conversation. Someone that you know is dealing with, just overcoming their past. And maybe it feels like everyone is trying to rain on their parade and it's a new day. This is a very encouraging conversation. I've sat down with a licensed therapist who talks about this with her clients all the time. So this is just as good as it can get, okay?
And remember, you're important. Very important.
And that's all we have.
And there's a good reason you're here, and there's a good reason you're listening to this, because you care about yourself. And I'm very glad that you take care of yourself.
Okay, this is a self-help podcast. So I think that's all I have for today. Thank you all so much for listening, for watching. Again, I'm here with Miss Shahine Tavakoli.
Tavakoli, yes.
Tavakoli.
Thank you.
Period.
Thank you, dear.
Absolutely. Thank you.
That. Yes, you.
And happy holidays.
Yeah, thank you. Happy holiday to you.
We did it.
Oh, yes, we did it.